Rotary E-Club of Houston. Glad to see everyone here tonight. Okay, next.
Hi, I'm Christine Mercer. I am on just my phone because I can't get to a computer right now.
Hi, Christine. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, Robin.
And I'm Mike Miller, and my wife Adriani Miller is here also.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm one of the assistant governor, and
Welcome,
I'm
Jimmy.
with the E-Club of Houston. Okay.
This is Wen-Ting Wen. I'm the past president of the Rotary E-Club Houston. If you have a webcam, please turn it on.
Nicole?
Hi, this is Nicole Bianchi. I'm chair of membership. How are you?
Good to have you. And then our speakers, we have Crystal. Do you have your video, Crystal?
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know that she's online.
I see her name.
I am online. Hello.
Yeah,
Oh,
there she
hi.
is.
If you have a webcam, please turn it on.
But I'm going to turn it right back off because we're going to be using some material that we prepared. So I'd rather keep the camera off.
Okay.
Speak closer to the microphone. It's hard to hear.
Crystal, there's a green button on the bottom. It says share. Please click on that and then click on desktop to share your screen.
Okay, well, while she's doing that, I'm going to introduce myself. Isis Mejias, I'm the chair of the International Committee. And Cristal is going to give a talk today because she spent quite some time preparing the blog and the pictures. So I wanted you guys to hear from her directly. And I'll be around if there are any questions as well.
Okay, that's fine. Crystal, take it away.
So just to give you a little bit of background, both Cristal and I are Venezuelan. We're Rotarians from the E-Club, but we're also very worried about the Venezuelan humanitarian crisis. This project came along about, I want to say, over a year ago, when we initiated a pilot project first in Venezuela called Bear Hugs. And then this is the second pilot project that we start as a result of that initial pilot program. But she will tell you more about it. So there's Cristal.
Hello.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Crystal.
we're here.
We can hear you.
Come closer to the microphone, Crystal. We can barely hear you.
Well, I have a full blast. Let me see. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Should I try on my phone with my headphone? This is the max that I can go. Can you hear me? Because I would love for everybody to be able to hear. And
Just come closer. Just get your face come closer to the laptop that you're using.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Robin, for the introductions. Thank you, Isis. Welcome, everyone. We're very happy you are here to learn about this project that has been developing for a little while. Today, I'm going to show you the material that is part of the actual research and project. You are going to be, the material you are seeing is actually on a blog that you can come and explore later. But today we're going to talk about the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, the challenges, the facts, the program, the partners that are going to be working together in this project, and the budget. I'm going to play in a second, a 2-minute video. So instead of me telling you a very long story, you will be able to see what is going on in the country. It's only 2 minutes long.
These are the most desperate times in Venezuela. We've told you here on this show, the economy is essentially collapsing and poverty is skyrocketing there. That is leading many Venezuelans to abandon hope and leave. Correspondent Rich Edson tells us about it tonight from the State Department. Desperate for food and medicine, thousands of Venezuelans cross into neighboring Colombia.
Pero nosotros estamos muertos de hambre. We are starving, regretfully. Venezuela is starving. We are dying of hunger, all of Venezuela. Venezuela has practically already collapsed.
They're sleeping on the streets, one making handcrafts from Venezuelan currency.
Because these bills really aren't being accepted anywhere anymore. The bills practically aren't worth anything anymore. It's just simple paper.
The International Monetary Fund projects inflation in Venezuela to rise 13,000% this year, while its economy shrinks 15%. With economic conditions deteriorating dramatically, food and medicine are scarce. More than 4 in 10 Venezuelans want to leave their country permanently. Gallup says it conducted that poll late last year as families scavenged for food in garbage bags and violence and hunger overcame the country. His country now in crisis, President Nicolas Maduro says he is still pursuing re-election in May.
We're under pressure, but Venezuela moves based on principles. Its constitution.
The United States calls that May 20th election illegitimate and says it's considering more sanctions on the Maduro government.
Elections that have had where the regime has pushed people to vote a certain way, provided monetary encouragement to vote a certain way, our concerns still remain about the erosion of democracy in that country.
And it is now more difficult for Venezuelans to escape their home country. Colombia has tightened migration and border controls.
I hope to God they don't deport me, and I don't want to go back to Venezuela right now. I don't know when I'll go back, but not right now. I plan to stay here working to achieve a better life for my children.
May's presidential election result seems almost predetermined.
Since I just would like everybody to know where the real conflict and humanitarian crisis begin, since a lot of this information is not seen on the US press constantly. Unfortunately, from the time this video was published to today, the hyperinflation is going to reach 1,000,000%, obviously the highest in the world. Colombia and Venezuela share a large border area, 14 miles of border. Colombia and Venezuela have always been very tied together, and the humanitarian crisis went on the opposite direction. Colombians came to reach Venezuela looking for opportunities, and we opened the doors not only to Colombians, but to all the countries around the world that have conflicts. They all came to Venezuela. We have a very rich immigration. This time, Venezuela are crossing the bridge to Colombia, 35,000 people per day, of which 5,000 get to stay in Colombia. So these are just images to give you an idea of what is really happening on the ground. When we began discussing the project, we call it Hope for Venezuelan Refugees. We want to bring hope in the form of food to so many of these people who don't have meals in Venezuela. There is no food in Venezuela. There is no medicine. There are no services. People are leaving everything they ever owned and they ever had and they ever dreamed for behind. And they are moving not only to Colombia, but to other countries, as you got to see some of the people walking. Those are the famous Venezuelan walkers that our club is collecting shoes for. So the main objective of the project is it aims to help alleviate hunger and improve the condition of malnutrition of approximately 5,580 Venezuelans per day by providing meals to the existing 8 distribution centers that are preparing and serving meals to these refugees in the city of Colombia. It is interesting to see that our Rotary promotes peace, and I found this quote in the website that ties the Rise Against Hunger projects with Rotary. When people no longer need to fight over food, peace will reign. So you got a glimpse of the conflict, but this is the real situation on the ground. We have to do an assessment in order to justify this project, the why of this project, not only to the donor, but also to our Rotary Club. As you can see, this is Colombia, this is the border with Cucuta, this is Venezuela, and this is the location of the Simón Bolívar International Bridge, where 35,000 people are crossing every day. This population is very diverse. A lot of people cross the bridge just like people in Mexico do when they come to the United States, either to purchase goods or to work. The same here. Some people live in Venezuela and they cross to Cucuta, and in Cucuta and they cross to Colombia, whether to purchase, to buy, or to work. Some even go to school. But the majority of the people are coming through this bridge and are staying in Cucuta. Many of them are continuing walking to Ecuador and Peru. This is the situation that I saw on the ground. As they are escaping from violence, persecution, lack of food, lack of medicines, these people are coming into a city of 650,000 people, which is Cucuta, and now is hosting almost 83,000 Venezuelans, which have been registered in the Colombian census. However, there are probably about 200,000 more which are not registered. So they could be probably at any given time crossing through or staying 300,000 Venezuelans in this area. This is what used to be happening on the ground. People were sleeping on the streets, sleeping in the front of the churches, in front of the parks, no any longer. Now the Colombia police is going around picking up people, especially about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They are loading them up in trucks and they are taking them back to Venezuela if they are not properly registered in the country. That's part of their immigration policy. There is no refugee camps, mega shelters in Colombia. People here in this picture are asking for a refuge, for a mega shelter, for a shelter, a place where they can come from Venezuela, be safe, have a place to sleep, have sanitary conditions available to them, because as it is, in many areas, the street is being used as a bathroom, which is generating a very serious concern from the point of view of health in this part of the city. Well, Isis and I work on investigating, finding the justification for the project, really finding out what happened with the census, how many Venezuelans are really in Colombia, all over the country. The census say probably about 80, 100,000. Well, there are more than a million, more than 2 million Venezuelans have left the country. Most of them are in Colombia, and the rest are between Brazil, Ecuador, Peru. Some are located in Argentina and others are in Chile, but most of them, and a few in Mexico, most of them are in Colombia. So we began investigating who are the organizations that are really serving this population. Who are they working with? Who are they working for? And how are they doing it? So the first thing we did was to identify a good trusted partner. In Colombia, the most trusted partner we can find is the church, is the diocese. The head of the diocese in Cucuta, Monsignor, delegated this project to the director of the food bank. We have been working with him ever since. He coordinated my agenda during my visit to Cucuta, and the main objective was to have a stakeholder meeting of all the people I have been communicating, making contacts, asking questions, and talking about what we were trying to do to explore the possibilities if it was possible, and especially if we could be able to follow up on a project and not just take donations to the ground. This is the stakeholder meeting. We have a meeting with 6 of the 8 organizations that were invited. One of the organizations could not make it, and the other one, they were both committed, which we follow up visiting all these projects. It was very interesting because it was the first time that a coalition of organizations sat together as a stakeholder brainstorming meeting, not only to find out what we can offer, but what are they doing? What are the international organizations on the ground, and what these international organizations are supporting, what they are providing. So we were able to come out of these meetings with a huge spreadsheet with all this information, listing all the international organizations that were helping, what project and how. So it was a very productive meeting. I just want to show you very briefly, because this is our host in Colombia. His name is Danwell Baca. The reason that this organization, the diocese, is very important, because as we know, many Rotary clubs around the world, they have the networks and the people power and the volunteer power, but not the capacity of implementing a project, not the capacity of logistics, because it could be expensive. In this case, we have to identify a partner that was able to host a container of 1,320 boxes, which is a huge volume, in their facilities, that this product was accessible to the prospect partners, and that had the experience of the logistic of distribution of how all this was going to be done. I'm going to give you just a brief glance of what the location where the container with the Rise Against Hunger foods are going to be in Cúcuta. He's explaining what they do, but I'll try to get a glance so we don't get too. See, they have this is their warehouse. It's very controlled. It is very secure. I think that they're going to be a perfect partner for us. So that's just a brief glance of where the products are going to be. So what did we decide in this meeting? We came with a proposal. We created a proposal when Rotary Club, the E-Club of Houston, is the coordinating organization that is receiving a donation from Rise Against Hunger, an organization very close to Rotary. They are interested in helping the Venezuelan refugees in Colombia and Brazil. We took the first project, the Colombian project. And based on all the investigation that we did and the result of this stakeholder meeting, we created a follow-up project that was sent to the donor with an update for consideration of commitment. I'm gonna show you very quickly a glance, and then you can come back. Who are these organizations that we met with, that we visited the projects, and that we were able to compile all this information in order to know what is that we as an organization are committing to, how we're going to do it, how we're going to extract the information, and how we're going to keep the donor informed. So at this point, Rise Against Hunger committed to donate a 40-foot container. The container contains 1,320 boxes of meals. Each box contains 36 bags of this meal. Now, each bag of the meal, the donor recommended that we calculated 4 services per bag at the $250 calories. So from each bag, we're going to have an allowance of 4 services of food that will have an caloric intake of 250 calories. Normally, the bags contain 6 servings. Because of the nature of the humanitarian crisis and the consideration of the donor, they decided to increase the size of the rations, of the portions of food, so the refugees will get a bigger amount. This is the first project that we visited, Casa Paso Divina Providencia. This project serves 2,500 people during breakfast, and also, how do I get rid of this? Okay, oh my goodness, what did I do? Okay, how do I come back? I'm so sorry. Okay. And 2,500 meals during breakfast. They also sent to Venezuela through the frontier 1,500 arepas. Arepas are Venezuelan bread. They sent 1,500 arepas, or the materials to make 1,500 arepas every single day to help the parishes and the people of the nearby villages that are on the other side of the frontier, that they are actually in a town called San Antonio in Venezuela. But they also provide and supply food to 20 dining rooms in Caracas and other communities around Caracas. This is the biggest project there is in Cucuta. As a matter of fact, by the time I arrived to Cucuta, in our documentation, we had that they serve 1,000, Isis, do you remember the number exactly?
So I think it was close to
20.
Yeah, 1,400 and something, and they increased to 2,500.
Yes. So this is a summary of what we did. We took every single project, everything that is contained in these videos and in these pictures, and all the data that we collected is summarized for very easy understanding, and for also the donor to see exactly who these people are, what they do, what they serve, and what are the supporting international organizations that are supporting this particular project. And what are their needs aside from the Rise Against Hunger rice and soy enriched dry meals. They requested that we also donated to them oats, power meal, cornstarch, and table chocolate for the breakfast. So this is one project.
Cristal, can you get a little bit closer to the microphone, please?
Sure, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're just a little bit low.
Okay, sorry, it's full blast on my side. The project number 2 that we visited is Comedor Parroquial Sagrada Familia. This is a very interesting case to me, which I have the opportunity of implementing many projects in different countries around the world in very remote areas, but I never seen somebody in a country like Colombia, which is not considered a very remote country. It's a country in Latin America that cooks 450 lunches per day using firewoods. And the reason he's doing that is because this particular father, he's a Catholic father, his name is Humberto Nieto. He explains in his videos that he received donation from the people from the church to help their Venezuelan brothers and sisters to provide food for them. However, gas in Colombia is extremely expensive. Therefore, he cannot afford to pay the gas, and he has to make a decision whether he buys the food or pays for the gas. He decided to buy the food and to cook with firewoods. So later on, you can go and see through the pictures. I'm going to share with you all the links so you can go on your own later, and you'll be able to see where they are cooking. It's just really incredible that in this day and age, people are doing this to help other people for humanitarian purposes. These are the details of this particular project. I'm gonna go with the next one. This is a very interesting project. These are people who help the people on the streets. And of course, the Venezuelan people are on the streets and they are considered people of the streets. The name is Comedor Fundación Servidoras Madres para los Abandonados de las Calles. The people who run this amazing project, they prepare the meals in bags, in plastic bags, and they prepare 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. However, if you do the adding, when they are preparing 350 meals 3 times a day, they are actually closing by hand almost 1,000 bags, more than 1,000 bags, every single day. They take their bags and they place them in a basket. Usually they serve 3 different types of food per meal, so those are 3 baskets. They take them to the street, they let people choose. Only a few people can come in and eat inside the place because it's very small. And they replenish their baskets, go out again and come back. By the time they finish, my goodness, it's time to cook the next meal. These are really people very, very dedicated. The fourth project is called Comedor Papa Francisco. It is run by the Scalabrini Fathers. They have 3 projects in the list of projects we're going to be supporting. The day I was there, you could see the crowds of people over here. There was an announcement. By mistake, it was done publicly that the Red Cross was going to be in this center, and hundreds of people arrived. This is just the beginning when we first arrived. This center is preparing meals for 800 beneficiaries. They also have a library. They help with the medical treatments or evaluation. And there is something very particular about this special place. When walking towards the common area, there is a note written by somebody, very well done, that says, "Welcome to our brothers and sisters from Venezuela," which really got my heart, because we must consider and we must accept that there is some cases or situations of xenophobia due to the humanitarian crisis and the conflicts that have been created because of this humanitarian crisis. However, a lot of this xenophobia is caused by the regime itself, sending people into Colombia to create problems, to generate rejections towards the Venezuelan people who are coming in. This seems to be very common among communist regimes, and is happening there. However, all these people that I met were so happy to help their brothers and sisters in the most difficult situations that you cannot imagine. I didn't hear one complaint from any of these projects. Let's move on to this project. It's called Comedor Room Selva de Rosas. Is also a project that is managed by the Scalabrini's fathers. This project has one particularity. This project gives out the bonuses from the World Food Bank project. There are 660 people are served every single day in this particular dining room. Let me tell you the story about what happened with the World Food Bank project. When the project began, it was announced publicly. And of course, so many people came up to participate and benefit from the bonuses. People from Cucuta and people from Colombia. However, since the project was destined to the Venezuelan, it created even a deeper conflict, that the project was canceled temporarily, and it was relaunched in a very private way where people are evaluated and are invited to receive this bonus. The bonus is 96,000 Colombian pesos per person per family, and it helps people to get on their own for the next 3 months. There is a criteria of selection for this particular project. People must live in a home and must be able to prepare their own meals. So this is the distribution of the bonus for that particular day. We were lucky to be able to witness all this process. This is our team, as you can see here. This is our Diana Gamboa, the president of the Rotary Club Cucuta, which is our partner on the ground, representative of the World Food Bank, our colleague from Rotary. This is the father who leads the project, and of course, this is Dan Wilbaca, our host in the country. This is the next project that we are supporting, which is the Comedor Fundación Nueva Vida. This is a very, very humble, I say humble place. It was very difficult to get here. It is not very accessible. I would love for you to be able to understand and listen to the videos, because it just really breaks your heart when these people are speaking, and then we can do this on other time because I don't want to take a lot of your time. This project benefits 225 people. They serve lunch every day, and they're in the process of opening a center for skill developments in order to teach and help the incoming refugees so they can find jobs while they are in Cucuta. This is the last project, which is the Center of Migration. This is, oops, what happened? Give me 1 second. I don't know what happened. This is a blog, and sometimes it's not as friendly, but as you can see, we have a lot of information in the blog that has been documented step by step of every aspect of the project. So let me find that particular I think the Center of Migration disappeared, and it was here today. So give me 1 second. Okay, let's go to the post then. These are pictures from the Center of Migration. They serve 3 meals a day. This center is the only center that hosts refugees in Cucuta. It hosts 150 to 160 people. You can see here the meal preparation when we arrived. You can also see Father Francesco showing us the different headquarters for men, for women. The facilities have bathroom. They have family rooms for families, different rooms. They have common headquarters over here for people to wash your clothes, hang your clothes for children to share. It's like a patio area for all of them. So in summary, these are our partners, and this is what's going on with this particular project. The Primary International Club, the project coordinator, is the Rotary Club of Houston, which is our club. The main donor for this project is Rise Against Hunger. The sponsors, Rotary clubs from our district are Humboldt, Brazos, Fort, El Campo, Highland, Baytown, Gulfway, Hobby, Katy, West University, Memorial, Spring Branch. The implementing host partners are the Rotary Club Cucuta, 7288, and the Diocese of Cucuta Food Bank. The beneficiary organizations are the organization that we glance very quickly. This is the update. This is where we are today. We already did an investigation. We already found the justification of the need. We identified very clearly and very defined the humanitarian crisis and how we could help. Need number one in the area is food. And thanks to the relationship of Rotary with this particular donor, Rise Against Hunger, our Rotary Club has been able to obtain this very generous donation. At this point, the documents of all this process has to follow bureaucracy and protocol of import-export. So there has been a lot of investigation, a lot of verification, a lot of on-site verification, and projected data that we projected in a project with the actual data of the actual facts of what's going on in the ground. So we began proceeding with all the import-export documentation. At this point, the documents were sent to be apostilled. Once the documents arrive into Houston from the Secretary of State in Austin, they will be sent to Air Logistics, which is our custom agent in Bogota, Colombia. In the meanwhile, we received a cooperative agreement from Rise Against Hunger that has to be, was revised, and we're waiting for their final copy to be signed. where the donor organization, of course, is Rise Against Hunger, and the recipient organization is the Rotary Club of Houston. The next step will be for Rise Against Hunger to schedule the door-to-door shipment of the 40-foot container with 1,320 boxes from the Port of Houston to the Port of Cartagena through the Missionary Expeditors, INC, ship company. Our Rotary Club, as the recipient of the organization, that receives the donation from Rise Against Hunger, becomes the exporter. So Rotary Club of Houston, E-Club of Houston is exporting this donation. This shipment will be consigned to the Presidential Agency of International Cooperation of Colombia, who will receive the donation and will exonerate this donation from all taxes. Once all this is done, they will release the container. Once it's released, the presidential agency will clear with the custom and contact our custom agent, which has direct relationship with the Presidential Agency of Cooperation. The Rotary Club of Houston at this point must pay the incurred port and custom charges. The container will be released to our custom agent to coordinate the delivery of the container to its final destination, which is the Diocese of Cucuta Food Bank in the city of Cucuta, Colombia. I realize that there is a lot of information, but this type of international project has a lot of steps before even getting to a proposal for the donor. And once the proposal changes from projected proposal to something more actual with data that has been verified on field, changes to a different level. And at that point is when all this information of the update is happening. I would love to invite all of you to go through the blog. You will be able to see a step-by-step what happened during the trip to Cucuta and how it relates all to the project. In the meanwhile, I want to share something that is very dear to my heart. While I was there, in the midst of this disaster, I've been distributing teddy bears since the year 2000, more than 70,000 of them. And I never traveled to an emergency site without teddy bears. So I created a page for Hope for Venezuelan Refugees in Cucuta. And here you also will be able to see the distribution of teddy bears. I'm going to tell you that in reality, if it wasn't for these teddy bears that brought so much light and smile to these kids, I would have spent my whole trip crying. The humanitarian crisis is really, really, absolutely, almost undescriptible. It's not what you see on television. You really have to see it. There are many pictures that I didn't take because the truth of the matter is, as a humanitarian and as an activist, I have to have a talk with myself because I'm used to document everything. And I asked to myself, are you a humanitarian or you want to be like one of those people who really use human dignity to publicize pictures and derail from the objective of the project? Because there was so many occasions where you say this is not possible, that people are going through this on the streets. The bottom line is I couldn't take any of the pictures. I decided as a humanitarian, I cannot step on the dignity of other people's humanity and suffering. There are more people on the streets trying to sell goods, from medical doctors to anybody, children, women, all kinds of people. Since there is no shelters, and usually this crisis is very particular because in the largest frontier, there is no a shelter that is capable of holding hundreds or thousands of people. And I already mentioned the situation that is on the ground. We stopped in several places to speak with people who were selling goods on the streets. One of them was a very old woman with a very young girl and a 2-year-old. And I asked them, I said, what are you doing? Where are you from? Where do you get the fruits? How much money are you making? She told me that the most she had made selling these fruits and vegetables was 15,000 pesos. The currency exchange is approximately 2,700 to 3,000 pesos per dollar. That's the most she ever made. However, there is a catch. Out of that money, she has to pay 4,000 pesos to sleep in a room that probably most likely will be shared with 10 to 11 other people. And she has to walk to the city of San Antonio to pay 4,000 pesos. Because if she wants to sleep in Cucuta and rent a room in a house that somebody is renting for these purposes, she'll have to pay 5,000 pesos, 1,000 more, which she didn't have. So this is just little notes of what's happening on the ground. ISIS and I believe that this particular project is going to be a tremendous help to 5,500 people that are going to receive a lunch, hot lunch every single day, prepared and served by these 8 wonderful, wonderful partners that we are able to have at this point, and that 2,500 breakfasts will be served once the donor finished approaching the proposal that we sent on buying additional vegetables, fruits, oats, milk, and other items. And I guess it will be sharing detail to all the members of the club later on. As soon as we get this proposal approved, I believe that we will be able to serve 8,000 meals every day for a period of 6 weeks to 8,000 people. Again, thank you for Robin for hosting this meeting. I'm sorry about the technical glitches. I invite everybody to go to the blog, to the Hope for Venezuelan Refugees blog that has documented not only many steps of our proposal and project, but the actual details of the visit to Colombia.
And also wanted to mention, Cristal, we're planning to go to Cucuta once the container arrives. And we would love to have anybody interested in coming as well, to see, to help, to experience seeing this with your own eyes and helping any way you can. I think it'll be really transformative, and the impact of the project is going to be very large. So I think seeing it with your own eyes, it's going to be life-changing.
Yes, definitely. I think it will be a very empowering experience, and it will help to see all these projects and all these meetings that we hear about. How is it really done? How is implemented, and even share and sit with the volunteers, or even help to serve the meals, or however you want to participate. We have a good partner on the ground on the Rotary of Cucuta. We have a great implemented logistical partner. We have 8 solid partners that are doing the job, and we're not reinventing the wheel. The objective of the project was designed to empower them to do their job better and to serve more people. And because of the mission of Rotary and the relationship with the international donors like Rise Against Hunger, and for the our Rotary Club allowing us to be able to work through this organization to put this together, I am very grateful for that. I'm sure Isis is, even though she has a long, long story with working in projects with Rotary. My story with Rotary comes more from working on Books of the World for so many years. But I am very excited. We are doing this project. I am, as a Venezuelan and as a Venezuelan activist, that been in the front of many areas in defense of the freedom of my country. I want to really sincerely say thank you.
Well, thank you, Cristal, and also Isis, for all of the work that you've done. This has really been pretty complicated to put together, and it's not done yet. We hope for the best when the container arrives and in Colombia, and then there's it could get tied up in port for a little while until those taxes are you know, the paperwork is all completed and we don't have to pay the taxes, but we may have to pay for the container to be there in the docks for a few days. So there are some kind of unknown costs there. I hope we don't have too many hidden costs that become burdensome, but we're doing our best to foresee any possibility of keeping those at a minimum. And getting all the paperwork correct is a huge part of that. And then we have to have that container transported inland at least 8 hours or so, maybe 10 hours to Cucuta.
So that's covered, Robin, by the transportation service that Rise Against Hunger is paying for.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Because
sometimes there can be complications on that end.
No, it's a door-to-door. It's just too many details to go through an hour, but I will be very happy, and I'm sure it will be also, if there are more details and people want more detail. Everything is just documented to the T's everywhere. That information that I will really think should not be published until the project kicks off when the container arrives. There is a lot of information that I share here with you that I haven't shared in any post because I consider that is no information that should be available. And also additionally, when our team from Rotary in Cucuta arranged interviews for the press, I asked them to kindly cancel them because Cucuta is a very vulnerable area because of the closeness to Venezuela and because of the presence of the regime. So the last thing I believe is that we want to announce what we're doing and how we're doing it. So everybody agreed that the best thing was to cancel all the interviews until we come back, the container arrives, and we actually begin the distribution and give all the publicity that the donor requires by their commitment, our commitment with them that we need to fulfill.
We did have a question about like when this trip might be, and we don't really know yet because we don't know exactly when that container will arrive. But as we do get some information about that, we will notify everyone so that if anyone would like to join, I'm hoping that I'll be available to go down and help serve the food or help organize it in the kitchens or whatever. I've got two good helping hands. So I hope that will work out. It's a possibility projected into January, roughly. So that's kind of what we're thinking of. But we'll keep everyone posted. And what Cristal says, I mean, being there really makes a huge impact on your heart, and it hits you in a very different way than just seeing pictures. Ed and I have been to Nicaragua and Chinandega, and you've heard of the Children of the Dump Project. There's nothing that we can tell you about that would really give you the same experience as being there. I mean, we can tell you about the children and the dogs and everything, but to get out of the bus and the dump and have all the flies around you and the stench of the dump, that's just something that stays with you. And it just doesn't come across in pictures.
Absolutely, Robin. And just to answer the question to whoever asked the question, we are estimating that the actual shipping might take about a month. And from what I'm seeing, we still have to wait. The last document to come back from Austin. That might take another week, and then just getting the container ready to be shipped, maybe another week. So I'm foreseeing, and within the next couple of weeks it will leave the container, and then maybe a month after that. So we might be looking, yes, December, end of November, December, until perhaps January.
Well, I have a little grandson's birthday coming up December 28th, so I won't be able to go the end of December. If it is later into January, I could make it. But
I want to mention, if you have more of an accurate date, maybe we can push this to the district and invite more people from the district to maybe join you guys.
Well, specifically the clubs that donated, perhaps.
Yes. So we're also hoping to do a presentation at each of the clubs that donated, and we have one scheduled on November 14th at Brasses Fort Rotary Club, and then we have one on November 6th at Baytown Rotary Club. So you're more than welcome to come to those meetings as well. We haven't scheduled the other ones, but we are going to extend the invitation to Rotarians from those clubs and anybody from the district really who wants to come. I think it will be a great exposure for Rotarians from our district to see the power of collaborating among our district and with international clubs and other organizations such as dioceses and all the 8 parishes that are contributing and helping, and of course our main partner, Rise Against Hunger.
And we are still pursuing some more donations because we still have the shipping cost for all the shoes that we've collected and boxed up. And I'll try to get those shipped out. If I can't do it by Wednesday, it'll have to be next week because I'm leaving town again. But I don't really know exactly how much that's going to be yet. So we will continue to donate money. But these ladies have already raised over $12,000. So that's quite remarkable. You've done a great job, and it's going to help so many thousands of people, hungry people, as they're leaving Venezuela and entering the border country of Colombia to find a new life. So we do hope that we can be a part of their journey, a part of their story as they look for a new life. And hopefully, they'll be able to one day to return to Venezuela when things calm down there, but that may be a while.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions about this project? It's almost 9 o'clock. Trokan, I see you've joined us. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, Ms. Robin. I'm sorry, I just got up from class, so yeah.
That's fine. I'm glad that you could hear the tail end of this. Okay, anybody have any questions about this project? Okay, there is an opportunity to help actually pack the meals on October the 27th. Rise Against Hunger, so take a look at the newsletter or the website for details about where that is, and you can actually, if you can't make it all the way to Cucuta, Colombia, you can make it across Houston and help actually pack these meals that will be sent. So I hope we have a good turnout there. It's not just our Rotary Club, of course, but many other Rotarians across the district. Okay. If there are no further questions, then we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you so much for sharing tonight, Cristal and Isis, and you're doing a great job here for us in international service.
Thank you, Robbie. We're deeply grateful.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night. Thank you, Ms. Robin.
Thank you. Good night.